I want to ride my bicycle. And that's exactly what we're going to do on June 25th, 2022 at 5 p.m. in North Park. That's in Allison Park, PA. We will be meeting at the Pie Trainer Field parking lot. If you come early, you can grab a Cycletopia t shirt for $15. They're on sale, or you can grab one ahead of time at Zach's Bike Shop in McKeesport, PA. They're also co hosting the ride event with us, and you can grab one of their t shirts. You can choose Team Zach or Team Cycletopia. Um, go down there, check them out. They have a ton of new bikes as well. So if you need a new bike for the ride, give them a call, go down there. They're great guys and they can definitely help you out down there. Anyway, so now I want you to head out to North Park, June 25th, 2022. The ride starts at 5 p.m. We're going to ride the street first, and then we're going to do some mountain biking on the trails. We'll probably meet at the Skills Park or back at the Pie Trainer parking lot after we ride the street. Some people don't mountain bike, but we want to include everyone. So if you have a one wheel, a skateboard, a bicycle, whatever you want to do, even if you want to come and just hike the trails and just be a part of the event, you are welcome to stop out and hang out with us. So again, that is North Park in Allison Park, PA, Pie Trainer Ball Field on June 25th. 5 p.m. is when we want to start riding, and we'll see you out there. Ride the vibe. For more information about this event, please email incycletopia@gmail.com, or you could head to our website at www.cycletopiamtb.com. Thank you for listening. This episode is brought to you by Zach's Bike Shop. Zach's Bike Shop is in McKeesport, PA, 3014 Walnut Street. They do bike repairs, they sell accessories, they have brand new bikes. If you need work done on your bike, they can definitely hook you up. So go down there and check them out. If you want to give them a call first, it's 412-751-5278. You can buy your accessories. They have new seats. They have everything. So whatever you need for your bike, they probably have it. Also, this episode is brought to you by Poopsie's Pet Services. Poopsie's Pet Services is serving most of the Allegheny and Westmoreland counties. If you give them a call, they will come scoop the poop that your pet makes in your yard. So if the waste your pet makes needs cleaned up and you are too pooped to scoop, call Poopsie's Pet Services. Their phone number is 412-482-4600, or you can email them at poopsies, Poopsies 412@gmail.com. Now here's the episode. Hello, this is Melissa with Don't Be a Taco, and I am with Tanya Bashor, and she is the certified narcissistic trauma-informed coach. You are listening to episode number 4 of Don't Be a Taco. How are you doing today, Tanya?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful.
Good.
Really tired. Drinking coffee mixed with cappuccino.
Uh-oh. You're going to be up all night.
So tell us about, tell us about Impart Clarity and what got you into doing all of this.
So Impart Clarity is my company. I founded it in the middle of last year. It is a coaching company. It is, as you mentioned, I'm a certified narcissistic trauma-informed coach, as well as being a certified hypnotherapist and a brain spotting practitioner.
Okay.
And so all of those modalities are used to coach women primarily who have been in narcissistic relationships and are looking to heal from that. So I have a few different programs. Some of them are one-on-one, some of them are in groups. I hold a retreat each year, and I do speaking engagements as well.
That's awesome.
So
So
how?
what got you into wanting, like, what sent you down that path?
Yeah. So it was a long journey. I was married for 22 years, and I left 4 times.
Okay.
And during the time that I was married, I was just like, I just have a crappy marriage, right?
Right.
And it wasn't really until after I left the fourth and last time that I started like trying to make sense of what had happened to me.
Did you have a good support system?
Oh my God, yeah. I had really, really good friends.
That's good.
Yeah. And so when I left the last time, I went and saw a therapist and was just trying to get my head back on straight. Like, what the hell just happened? And somebody kind of mentioned, hey, you might want to look into the word narcissist. I'm like, no, nah. Alcoholism, sure.
Yeah.
Narcissist, no.
Yeah.
And I ended up signing up with a life coach from California, from San Diego.
Okay.
And I did 12 months with her in a program called Perfect Health Mastery. And it was a really holistic approach.
This was right after?
This was actually in 2019, right before the pandemic. So I got divorced in 2011.
Okay.
I spent a couple of years just basically dating around and trying to figure out what the hell happened.
Right.
And at that time, I was seeing a therapist. And then I met Freddie again, who I
Right.
have known for a really long time. And when I was with Fred, I'm like, I'm not who I used to be. Something
Right.
happened and I can't really figure it out. And he's like, well, do what you got to do.
Right.
So,
Super supportive.
super supportive, like in
Yeah.
so many ways. And so I ended up going with a life coach for a year. I did a 12-month program. I actually did it with my daughter.
Okay.
And we went to San Diego a couple of times. And the concepts that I learned just kind of blew my mind. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, how did I not know this at 50 something, right?
Yeah, because when it's things like that, when you hear it, you're like, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, what? Like, total
I'm
paradigm
smart enough
shift.
to understand this, but obviously I couldn't come up with it
Yeah.
without some help. Yeah.
So after my 12 months, I really started to think, okay, what do I want to do with the rest of my days, right?
Right.
And I found out about a certified coach that is done through Brendan Burchard. So it's a certified high performance coach. I found out about that type of coaching and I'm like, okay, I'm going to pursue that and see what happens. So I coached with somebody for 3 months. And during that 3-month period, one of the questions that she asked me was, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I want to stop people from spending years and years and years trying to figure out what the hell happened to them. I want to be able to coach other women that went through what I went through so that they don't spend 10, 15 years chasing their tail going, what the heck just happened to me, right?
Right. Or like thinking that you can't get better than what you already went through.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
worse yet, repeat the same cycle, which a
Yeah.
lot of people do, right?
Yeah. I know.
So what ended up happening is she said to me, you know what? There's this woman in my training group that I trained with at this high performance coaching training, and I think she does that. You should look her up. Her name is Caroline Strawson. So I looked her up, and sure enough, she is all about, she divorced a narcissist. She actually says that divorce was her superpower because she realized that after she got divorced, that she became like this person that she had no idea she could become.
Right.
She talks a lot about post-traumatic growth.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's in my transformation
Yeah.
class that I'm taking right now. There's some talk about that.
And so when you go through that kind of stuff, you can actually come out a better version of yourself
Right.
because of it, right? So,
Right.
and I really firmly believe that everything happens for us, not to us. When we're going through it, it feels like it's happening to us. But
Right. There's it's like saying there's a reason for
yeah, there's a reason for
right.
everything. There really is.
Yeah, there's a
And
plan.
yeah, and I look back on my life and the trajectory of that and all of the things that brought me to where I am today, and it's just like, holy cow. So found out about Caroline Strawson and started following her podcast, listening to her podcasts on my way to work. And then one day she's like, hey, if anybody's interested, I'm going to be doing this coaching certification. Well, this was right after COVID. So this was in January of 2021. So just last January.
Okay.
And it's a 12-month certification. This is how much money it costs. And I immediately knew once I read the curriculum, oh God, I have to do this.
Right.
So I go into the dining room, and I'll never forget the day I looked at Freddie and I go, hey, I kind of want to spend a whole bunch of money, and I need you to be okay with that. And he's like, okay, well, if you have the money and you want to pay this every month, go for it. So he was super supportive.
Right.
So in January of last year, I signed up for a 12-month program. Graduated in December, and with that program ended up certifying in hypnotherapy as well as brain spotting, and really learned everything there was to learn about coaching women that have been in narcissistic relationships. So really long answer to your question, but you kind of have to connect all of the dots to see, how I got to where I'm at right now.
Got to connect the dots to see the brain spots.
Yeah, you do. Connect the dots to see the brain spots.
I actually, one of my psychiatrist, I was, we were talking, and she mentioned, because like I have a touch of ADHD, so we mentioned going to some kind of eye therapy. Does that have to do with brain spotting?
Yep,
Yeah,
it's very
EMDR.
similar. Very
So
similar.
So that's the same thing or no?
No, EMDR is different. I'm not certified in that, but it's a similar modality. In fact, the person, his name is David Grand. He was actually practicing EMDR on somebody when he discovered brain spotting.
Oh.
And so he ended up making his whole new modality called brain spotting, and then teaching other therapists how to do it because of the success that he had in that.
Yeah, I want to try that out, but I haven't found a place yet.
It's a great therapy.
I did tell her about your business, though. I'm like, yeah, you might want to refer people to her.
Thanks.
She helps with that stuff. But yeah, that's interesting, and I relate to a lot of what you're saying, and I guess I'm certified as a personal trainer, but I thought it was very interesting to take this psychology, like it's the transformation specialist, which is like the psychology of change.
Yeah.
And it talks a lot about a lot of the in some of the stuff that you're trained in, and I don't know, I just find it really interesting, and I feel like I've also gone through some post-traumatic growth myself.
Yeah.
And because when I came, the one relationship I've mentioned, after like we were together for 4 years, and then the last 2.5 on top of that, we were working on this house. So there was just a lot of narcissistic type of stuff. When I would talk to one of my friends, he would try to make me. There was a lot of gaslighting and stuff too, and he would try to make me doubt myself all the time.
Yeah, second guess yourself.
Right.
They try and make you feel like you're going crazy.
Like your logic isn't logical, and it's just like this whole ongoing, like hours and hours and hours of arguing until you break. And then once you break, they're like, I don't want to see you cry.
Yep.
And when I think of that part, it's funny and not funny. But if you were to listen to one of Chappelle's specials, have you watched this?
No, but I can only imagine what he does.
Well, it's actually a more intimate part after the special's over, and he's just sitting there telling a story about this pimp that wrote a book.
Okay.
And how he got, like, he said, like, a hoe's only good for so many tricks. And once they're reaching the end of that, he said, like the story that he tells in the book is he set up this whole big thing once this one girl he was dealing with was getting to the end of her rope.
Okay.
And he sets this whole thing up where, like, he sets her up with this guy, and they go in this hotel, and somehow he dies, and she has to call him to save her.
Oh my God.
So then he ends up looking like the hero and runs her a bath and all this other stuff. And like now he's renewed her faith in him and what she's doing because he said, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's a trauma bond.
yeah.
It's a type of trauma bond.
And I'm trying to think. There was like one part that he said, like breaking them down and then making them look like the hero. And like the
Yep.
way he said the one part of that,
Yep.
I cried
Yeah.
because I was like,
That's what
I mean,
they
not,
do.
I wasn't a hoe. And I wasn't dealing with a pimp or anything, but
It's the
but
same
that's
psychological dance.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the same. Yes, exactly. And that was just, I don't know. I think about that once in a while still, but
But when you're in the middle of all of that, you just think you're fighting, right? You think that you're just like there's a lack of communication, or you're like the crossed wires here and there, or maybe I didn't understand, or maybe, and you start questioning everything.
the way, yeah, there was some of that, then the way sometimes I would, I think he liked the fact that I could figure it out. And I would read it back to him, but then he would come back and say, "That's not like the exact thing he said." Or like, it doesn't matter if it's the same word or not.
Yeah.
And we would just, I'm pointing this way because we argued all
Yeah.
throughout this house. Every room. And then when there was no
Wow.
walls, it sucked because
Yeah, I
like,
bet. Nowhere
he'd be
to
over here
escape.
and I'd try to go over there. And it's like, you can see everything. Yeah, it was, but I remember like and then they throw in jabs. And like right
Because
before,
they know what buttons to push.
right, and then but right before all that, like when we were just friends and I was talking, and I just kind of overshared,
Yeah,
a lot.
That's what they have you do because they want to be able to use it against
Yes,
you down the road.
That's exactly what he did. Yeah, that's exactly what he did, and it sucked.
Yeah,
But I think he got a kick out of me being able to kind of like fight it back.
Yeah.
And call him on stuff. And
it's like challenging them, like, okay,
Yeah.
so I've called you on your stuff,
yeah.
and now what are you gonna do?
Yeah. The actually what I found out, which was very hard for me, is it's hard for me to keep my mouth shut. Right. So, but what I found out is when I finally could just keep my mouth shut,
Yep.
if you do it long enough, drive him crazy.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's what they call gray rocking.
Great. That's what I was doing.
Yep. So the best thing you can do when you're going around in circles like that and you're just not getting anywhere because they're gaslighting you is to just shut up. It drives them insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it keeps your sanity.
Yeah. It's so much. I got to a point where I would just leave, go buy a pack of cigarettes.
Well,
I
I
don't
would
smoke
go,
anymore, but
hey, I'm sorry you feel that way. Like on repeat.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm
yeah,
sorry you
that's a
feel
good
that
one.
way.
That's a good one.
There's nothing you can say to fix it.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's I don't know. I could say so many things, I guess. Let me see if I'm going to ask you a question. We'll go back to let's see. You told us this. What so when you're helping someone, are there certain moments where you feel accomplished, or like what makes you, like what part of helping someone makes you tick, I guess is what the question is.
I think that,
Like when you get excited or
I think just watching the penny drop, like for somebody to realize and have compassion for themselves, like, oh, this is not me.
like when they start and you can tell they start actually caring about themselves.
Yeah, like I'm not crazy and I am worth something and I should have better self-esteem and I should take better care of myself. Like when that penny drops and they start to kind of lean into who they really should be and are, but don't believe it or haven't believed it for a while, it's really nice.
Yeah.
And I think one of the first things that I talk about with my coaching clients is the polyvagal theory, which is around how our autonomic nervous system responds. So, like you were just describing, he knew exactly what buttons to push. Your brain's job is to keep you safe and away from perceived danger. So if he's pushing a button that makes you feel like you're getting out of control in any way, or if it makes you feel like there's a danger,
Like a fight or flight.
yeah, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, all of that comes into play. And your immediate response is just to, defend yourself.
Right.
So they get really, really good at learning what buttons to push in order to keep you like on that high stress, high anxiety type mode.
Yeah.
And when
Tight jaw, tight
yeah,
chest,
all of that.
brain fog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't think straight. Yeah.
I'm sorry. As soon as I broke up with him, like that stuff went away.
Yeah.
Like the immediateness of it, like my chest loosened up.
Yep.
I remember my job wasn't helping either because it's a stressful type of job. So like I remember literally looking up exercises to loosen my jaw and like take a pencil and like loosen it up and stretch it out and everything.
So one of the first things I teach is polyvagal theory, because until you understand why you're responding the way you respond and why you do what you do, you can't really change it.
Yeah.
And then understanding how to really relax the vagus nerve that gets activated when fight, flight, freeze kicks in, and being able to have some tools that are super easy that you don't even need props for. You can just think about,
Why is it called the Vegas?
The
Is
vagus
it 'cause you're
nerve.
taking a chance, like you're gambling?
No, not Las Vegas, but VAGUS.
Okay.
Yeah, the vagus nerve. So, when you're in a situation where you can feel yourself getting activated and you're responding in a fight, flight, freeze
Yeah.
way, even though there's no real threat to yourself, that's when you can kind of step back a bit and say, okay, so this is probably what's going on. Okay, I'm safe. I can take a deep breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I give a little card to all of my clients where I talk about, find 5 things that you can see right now.
And like name them?
Yeah.
Something like that? My cousin mentioned that to me once.
Yeah, what you're doing is you're getting your brain that's kind of offline right now, the amygdala, you're kind of getting it back into, you're getting your own brain back online again by having your prefrontal cortex do the thinking again.
Yeah.
Like, hey, get out of that automatic response here. We're safe. Okay, 5 things that I can see, 4 things that I can hear, 3 things that I can touch, 2 things that I can smell, and 1 thing that I can taste. And then before you realize that you're grounded again.
Just lick the steering wheel.
You lick the steering wheel. Yeah. Put your finger in your ear. Lick the wax. Whatever you got to do.
I think I'd rather lick the steering wheel.
So yeah, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 really works.
That's cool. So whenever, this was not the same person, but this was a person that when I found out that I've learned from that person, I was dating this one person briefly. He actually played with Freddie and Jim once.
Oh, yeah?
At the place, Tavern in the Hill. Or is it Tavern in the Hills, the one in Pleasant
I don't know.
Hills?
It's changed names like 4 times. Used
One
to be the
on,
Red Lion, right?
Old
Yeah.
Clareton
Tavern
Road.
in the Hills. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I remember I had to see him after some stuff had happened. I had to like drop off his book or I don't know. And I was just having like all this anxiety, and my cousin gave me a similar tip. I was driving around and she said, start naming things you can see. So, like, she didn't do what you said, which is interesting.
Sure.
But she just starts saying like that.
Yeah, you're just getting back into your thinking brain again.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing how little tiny exercises like that can help so much.
And if you don't know, you don't know, right? You can only do better when you know better.
Yeah. That's true. That is true. Tell me more about brain spotting. I want to understand brain spotting.
So it is a modality where the person who is practicing the brain spotting usually uses some kind of a tool like a pointer.
Okay.
And we're trained to find the spot where your eyes and your brain kind of connect. So if in a typical brain spotting session, the client might present with some kind of trauma that they want to release, right? They're like, this happened to me when I was a kid, but every time I'm near a dog, I freak out.
Is that kind of like trying to find their triggers?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
So let's just say someone got bitten by a dog and now they just can't be around a dog because every time they see a dog, it freaks them out. Let's just use that example. So I would ask them to think about that stressful situation. I'd ask them to find out where it is in their body, because when we are feeling stress like that, it does show up in your body. Like
Yeah,
you
like
had
it's
talked
either
about,
like in here, or it's
your
a chest pain.
thing, your
This
neck.
I used to call this I won't use the name, but my blank
Uh
spot.
huh. Uh huh. Yeah.
I was like, and I told the next guy I told you about, I said, if you set off the blank spot,
Yeah.
then I'm
We're done.
blocking you.
Yeah. So you can feel that
And
in your body, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So when I'm using the pointer, I actually have the person give me a scale of 1 to 10 where they're feeling this trauma in their body.
Mm-hmm.
And then I find the spot. And as I'm using this tool, I can locate based on what happens to their facial expressions and their body, like where that brain spot is that holds that trauma.
Now, is this something you can use like a pen, or is it a specific
It's a
type of
it's
metal?
a little pointer, kind of like a retractable pointer that comes out, because you have to find both the X and the Y axis to get.
Does it matter what it's made out of?
It's usually metal. It's like one of those pointers that a professor would use on
Yeah.
a board,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So, but I'm sure you could use a pen or something if you needed to. I don't know.
Oh, so it doesn't matter. Like, I wondered if like a certain metal had anything
No,
to do with
I don't
being
think so.
able to.
I think it's
Okay.
just finding the spot, and then what you do is you end up holding that pointer in the specific spot that person needs to hold for a while to process it, and you just allow them to process the trauma, and the brain does all the work.
Huh.
And then after a while,
Because
I'll
they're
check.
focusing on that.
Yeah,
Right in the same position where the spot is.
yeah.
That's interesting.
It's very, very strange. And I've done many, many, many of these now, and it just blows my mind every time I do it.
Like, yeah, you're
Yeah.
like doing
'Cause
your magic, like you're amazed at your own magic trick.
Yeah, exactly. You don't even have to rehash the trauma. You don't even have to, as a patient, as the
Like
client,
lying on
you
the
don't
couch.
have to sit and rehash everything that you
Like sit there and go
that
over
you lived.
and over
Yeah, and the
again.
dog came up to me, and this is what happened, and then the next thing you know, you're in fight, flight, and freeze, right?
Right.
You don't have to do that with brain spotting. Your brain just thinks about it, and it processes it. And what ends up happening is I check back in after a while. Where are you now? 1 to 10. Usually it's really decreased or significantly decreased. And then we go back in again. Let's just kind of squeeze the lemon, see if there's any juice left in there, right? See if there's
Okay.
anything else activating you. Go back in, see what happens. And then usually it's pretty much cleared out. Side effects of brain spotting: you're thirsty and you have really crazy dreams. So
I have really
you
crazy
drink lots of
dreams
water.
I have crazy dreams all the time.
That's
I have
pretty much it.
premonition dreams.
Uh-huh. Yep.
I have premonition dreams quite often lately.
Mm-hmm.
And my friend, I knew my friend was moving, but I didn't know when he was moving. And then one night I dreamt that he was leaving. In the dream he was moving and packing socks, and then there was like he's not dating anyone, but there was like a girlfriend, and then I was getting upset, and then there was a mother figure, but it was a mother from somebody I dated in high school with a completely different personality. It was so weird. And then I felt myself getting upset, and I went to walk to a bathroom stall, and I woke up. And the reason I walked to a bathroom stall is because when I was in Vegas, I have PMDD. I'm probably going through perimenopause, I found out recently. So like everything makes me cry.
Aww.
And then on top of the premenstrual dysphoric disorder, are you familiar with that? Okay, so I was hitting that day, or like right before, like the day or two before, where you get depressed anyway.
Yep.
But then and I'm in Vegas, and you can't be alone in Vegas.
There's nowhere to escape.
You have to even if it was like a grateful thought, or a happy thought, every little thought was starting to make me tear up.
Sure.
And I'm like, I have to go, and like
So a bathroom stall was the only place.
that was the only place I can go, man. I just had to sit there and cry it out until I could
Oh my goodness.
get it out and compose myself. I
Yeah.
knew exactly what was happening. I'm like, I know this is happening. I know I'm probably gonna start my happy time tomorrow or the next day. I know this is exactly on. It's like clockwork. My friend's amazed at how much I know my body and know what's
It's
happening.
good. I think everybody should know their body
I'm
that
like,
well.
I've been living with myself for a while.
Because our bodies usually tell us what's going on long before our head can figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was I? Oh yeah, that's right.
The dream.
I dreamed about the
Yeah.
bathroom stall. Yeah. That's another thing. Speaking of like brain farts or brain freezes, like I just had when I first broke up with the guy I did the house with, that I was with for 4 years. Even during, if I remember one social situation sticks in my head. I was around people I grew up with. They knew me since I was a baby. I knew them since they were a baby. And I remember standing with a few of them in a circle, kind of. We were talking, and there were some topic that I knew I had some input.
Yeah.
And I start talking, and I just
blank,
and I'm just like, I don't, and I just gave up. I was like, never mind, I can't remember, and I felt horrible. I mean, it's embarrassing, and there were a few other situations where I felt I was just weighed down so much. It's amazing. I know there's a ton of people that can relate to that.
Yeah, it's a symptom of trauma.
And
brain fog, brain farts, not being able to recall things,
and
halfway through a sentence, forgetting what you were saying. It's all
constantly saying, I know, forgetting things I already knew.
Yep.
And speaking of Freddie, I remember when I finally called it off for good with that person, I had reached out to this coworker that we were supposed to hang out. We never did, but she went through a situation like this. We ended up talking for like 4 hours this one night. And we hung out for a little while.
Yeah.
She was like one of those friends that was around for a season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A reason and a season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because she's nowhere to be found now. It's okay though. But she helped me out a lot, and like she's like it gets better.
Yeah.
It just takes time. And one of the very first things I wanted to do when I broke up with him was go see the Regular Joes. Because whenever I met them, they were so encouraging and so uplifting.
They're positive people.
Positive, very positive. And I'm very grateful. I know I come off like a weirdo sometimes, or I'm
not
awkward.
at all.
But I knew, like, whenever I used to go see them all the time,
It's
it was
a
just
safe
always
place for you, right?
Yeah, it was just
nice people,
good people, safe,
good energy,
yes,
kind,
positive energy,
positive,
yeah,
upbeat, not bad at
and
singing.
it helped me build confidence.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I didn't go to go see. For 4 years I didn't get to go see them.
Yeah.
And so I finally do, and I went a few times, and then the one time I went, and this was within the same probably year that I broke up with this guy, and I always stay in to say goodbye and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was standing there. I had probably, I don't drink that much anymore, but that night I had like 2 or 3 drinks or something. And I wanted to like say something to Freddie, and I just I stood there.
Yeah.
And I couldn't. And he's looking at me like packing up his guitar, like it looks like she wants to say something, but I don't know. And I just felt so bad, because at the same time that you're going through that, you know why you're going through that.
Yeah, but you can't say to the person, "Here's why
I can't
I'm having a brain fart right now."
Yeah, that's like a really long story.
Let me give you my life history.
But I just got upset, and I was like, and I just left.
Yeah.
And then it happened a couple other times when that friend of mine, she came out to see them, and I remember we were talking after with Jim, and they're talking, and all I could contribute to the conversation was like 1 or 2 stupid jokes, and I got upset after because I felt dumb because I couldn't have a conversation. I felt like I didn't know anything.
You're right, though. It does get better after time.
Oh yeah,
It just takes a while.
Listen to me now.
Yeah, I can't shut you up now, right?
But it's amazing that how that, I don't know. It's just I mean, I still have like moments where I go through that, and I like just blank out.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's just that, or if it's also like the PMDD and some other stuff or whatever. But I that definitely had
the brain fog is most certainly one of the major symptoms of narcissistic trauma.
It was amazing how, like, I remember the same people I told you about in that first little story where I just gave up talking.
Yep.
These are friends of the family. I was around them again for the first time after. And the one lady, she said, I can tell how much lighter you are. She noticed.
Yeah.
I didn't have to say anything.
Yeah, there's just this
She
heaviness
just-
on you while you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she definitely noticed. It's amazing. If people don't think everything's connected.
Oh, it's all connected.
Yeah, like, yeah.
Yep.
I'm like been super into going through this spiritual journey.
Yep.
Is that any part of what you do, or is that based
It
on
is.
like each individual
Yeah, so
circumstance? Or
I usually find out from the client when I'm working with them, like, what are your beliefs?
yeah,
Because for me, I'm a Christian, and so I lean on that a lot. For some people, it'll be like, well, you know, I believe in the universe, and I believe in karma, and I believe in whatever they believe in, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I do tie it in because when you have a faith, it is such a huge part of your life.
Yes.
To do life coaching and not talk about that as part of the coaching would be ridiculous, you know? So I respect and honor whatever belief system they have. And obviously, if they have the same belief system that I have, because obviously I know more
It's
about
easy.
Christianity, then
Right.
it's just easier for me to, you know,
Right.
to coach and to, you know, point things out. Like today I was talking to somebody about scarcity and money mindset and how, you know, being raised in a family that says, you know, money doesn't grow on trees, or you have a champagne budget on a champagne lifestyle on a beer budget.
right.
And so these are all like limited beliefs that we're told, right? And I said, you know, one of the things I said to her, because she's a Christian, is, you know what? The bird doesn't wake up in the morning and worry about where the worm's going to be, or if it's going to have enough to drink that day,
Right.
or a shelter to be in. It says, you know, God takes care of the birds of the fields. Well, how much more valuable to him are we than the birds, right? So, like, being able to weave stuff like that into a session for somebody that has that type of faith, it's powerful.
Yeah.
Because they're like, yep, you're absolutely right. And it's just like another reset, you know, it's like a course correct.
Yeah.
And I think being, you know, there are so many different ways of being spiritual. It doesn't have to be a religion. And
Yeah,
I know a lot of people who are, you know, spiritual and don't go to church at all. Like Freddie, for instance, his church is the woods. He will go
Yeah.
out into the woods and be in nature.
That's
what he says.
The first church.
Yeah, exactly.
The nature.
Yep.
Where else were you?
Yep.
Yeah. Just
So,
wearing
yeah,
a little fur you got off of a bear
Exactly.
somewhere or a wolf
In the woods.
in the woods
Forest
under a
bathing.
cave.
Yeah, we're coming back to it. So, yeah, I think spirituality is a huge part of healing too.
And I was listening to something. I love these types of conversations. I was listening to I don't know, a podcast or an interview or something, and the person said they were talking to somebody who was Hindu, and they said I think it was some kind of monk or something, and they said all pathways lead to God.
Yep.
And whatever pathway you grew up with or whatever you're familiar with,
Yep.
you just that's the
Stay
one
with that.
that's the one
Yeah.
for you because it's all going to go in the same direction.
Because truly, when you think about all of the different types of religions that are out there, and even people who are, you know, anti-religion but have some kind
still
of
have morals. It
spirituality,
comes from that
there's a
original book.
compass. Yeah.
I love Jordan Peterson, and I love the way he philosophizes the stories. And because of him and listening to him, he is the first time that I ever like got emotional about the story of Jesus. I grew up Catholic, right? So there's you can already
There's
know
a
what
whole
where.
lot of dogma there, yeah.
So I grew up Catholic, and then I didn't like going to church, and I went to Catholic school for 9 years, and I got into my, I don't know, I graduated high school, and I got into when I got into my 20s or whatever, I kind of just, I remember having some friends that were some other, what's the word I'm looking for?
Faith.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
some other form of Christianity and denomination.
Denomination.
And I remember being questioned by a friend's mom, like, why don't you go to church? And I was like, I don't think I have to go to church to believe in God. So I went through that. So, but I went through all these phases. So I went through that, and then I went through kind of like I read the Da Vinci Code and watched the movie.
You
And I was like,
rebel, you.
wait a minute. I was like, why did they lie? Why did they tell us all these magic stories when they were
Yeah.
just metaphors and this,
Yep,
that, and the other?
yep,
And there's just
yep.
like this really smart guy. And like, that's where I was then.
Of course.
Right. And then
But it's part of your journey, right?
right.
It's all
And
figuring it all out.
looking from where I am now,
Yeah.
where I've made it now,
Uh-huh.
looking back on that then, I mean, I just enjoy the
Sure.
whole spectrum of
Yep.
what I've been through up to this point. I've had some spiritual awakenings when in 2020, I'll skip forward because I went through like the atheistic stuff, which I still think is funny. I love like jokes. God has a sense of humor.
Of course.
The universe does.
Of course.
And I think that's all one and the same. But anyway, I went through all that, but then in 2020, I was trying to lose weight, and COVID happened.
Yep.
And and that's when I met my one friend, and he sparked something, and I started riding my bike every day.
Yep.
I was feeling motivated. I had a good situation going for me with like the second job and everything. And I lost like 25 pounds altogether that year. And I used the 12 steps with a relative who kind of acted as one. I didn't go to meetings.
Sure.
But we kind of had our own meeting, just me
Yep.
and her. Excuse me. And that is what the next step of my journey was, because you have to pick a higher power.
Yeah.
And when I had to pick a higher power, and I was like, what are we going to do
Eeny, meeny,
now?
miny, mo. Which
Yeah,
one?
I was like, well, I believe everything's connected.
Uh-huh.
I believe everything in the universe is connected.
Yep.
And she's like, fine, we'll call it
Yep.
the universe. Well, then I found out, not too much later, I Googled it, and I was like, oh, there's a name for this. It's pantheism. So there's all these there's 5
Oh,
different
my gosh.
pantheisms,
Yeah.
pantheism, and all this stuff. And I've got a little book, a short book, and it showed me how pantheism is in all of the Christianity,
Yep.
Taoism, Buddhism,
Yep.
Hinduism, and there's like from way back in the day, and how it was kind of shunned by the Christian or Catholic Church or whatever for a
Correct.
while, and it's just starting now to kind of be more incorporated. And then I found out that it was like not Ethan Hawke, that's the actor, Stephen Hawking's. I always get that confused. Stephen Hawking's and Einstein
They're
and
not
like
even
Benjamin
close for this.
No, they're not the same people. They're both great in their own ways. But they were all pantheists.
Yeah,
I'm like,
okay.
well, I don't feel too bad, you know. If that's what these really smart guys believe, then that's what I came up with. I got to be on some right track, you know. But I believe like the science and the spirituality.
I believe that
they need to be. You need one for the other.
I agree, and I think that we are kind of heading
Sorry, I
in
get,
the
like, really
direction. No, it's good. I think that we're heading in the direction of more science will back up a lot of the things we haven't really understood, like a lot of the metaphysical stuff.
And the near-death
Yeah.
experiences,
Yeah,
where like
all
the
of
DMT
that.
is released
All
from the
of that.
pineal gland. I have a friend that we had a little heated argument about, and he's like, "You're just tripping." And I'm like, "No, like it's not just that. It's that's a part of our brain. From what I have gathered from all the information I've listened to and read so far, what I've come up with is that is a part of our brain that we can't handle on a regular basis yet. But in
We
an
are
extreme
capable of so
circumstance,
much more than we realize.
right, in an extreme circumstance, or if you practice hard enough with meditation or whatever, or you take it or whatever, that you can induce that and have the experience. It's built in there. It's built right there in the back here, whatever it is.
Where it is.
Is it here?
I don't know.
Is it your third eye?
I
Pineal
think
gland?
so.
Yeah, so it's like right
Right
there.
between your eyes, above your forehead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like, okay, well, this can't just be science.
Yeah,
There
I think
has to be a reason
eventually-
it was put there to begin with.
Yeah, well, I think we'll figure it all out eventually. I don't know how long it's going to take, but
Oh, I can't. I hope it's within my lifetime.
it would
I
be
really
cool,
do.
wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would like to try DMT once, but I mean, I won't just like go some backyard thing and do it. I wouldn't be a shaman and all that stuff. But it would be cool to try because people say they have really amazing experiences and like look at life differently. Have you ever done anything like
I
that?
don't know. I'm squeaky clean.
Squeaky clean?
Squeaky
Oh,
clean.
well, I can't say I am.
Yeah. Sorry to be so boring.
That's not boring. It's good. It's not.
Worst I've done is I've gotten drunk on wine a lot.
Well, there was something about that too. Like that's just kind of like a slower form of getting to a certain state.
Yep.
I can't remember the details of that conversation.
Intoxicated.
Well, yeah, there's that. I don't really
smoked
enjoy
pot
it anymore.
once when when was that? 1991. I smoked pot in the basement of my house with my narcissistic husband.
Was he a heavy like pot smoker?
Oh yeah, he was.
Okay.
And so
That's amazing. You only did it once, and you were with him that long.
I was like, I hate this. It's
Yeah.
disgusting because I ate the entire contents of my kitchen. I'm like, I'm going to weigh
That's the-
500 pounds.
That's the
There's
part I
no
liked.
way. No.
I would get the snacks ready before.
No. Plus, I never smoked. I have asthma. I'm like, dying,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I was like, yeah, you can
Yeah.
keep this. Never
No.
happening. No. And then it scares me
Well,
to
they
do
have
anything
edibles
else.
now.
I know. Nah.
Nah.
It doesn't even
I don't-
appeal.
I
Give
don't
me a
do it
glass
anymore.
of wine, baby.
Yeah. I don't even drink anymore. I just,
Yeah.
I mean, I do, but not much at all. I
don't
try not
drink-
to.
I don't drink very often, but I found that when I do have a couple of drinks, it leads to like 3 or 4 or 5, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
like and I don't do that very often. I think
Right.
for me, like being with an alcoholic for 22 years, it's like, yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah.
But now Freddie doesn't drink at all.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
I have a
He has
designated
cranberry
driver.
juice. Doesn't he drink cranberry juice? and
Cranberry
stuff?
juice, soda, and lime. Yep.
Yeah.
So now, if I go watch him play and he's driving, I'm like, I'll have a couple of glasses or a couple of bottles.
A glass and a bottle.
Yeah. No,
Pipe
not
and a
always.
pancake.
But yeah, no, drinking's about as deviant as I've been, I suppose, and not
Yeah.
very exciting. Sorry.
No, I wouldn't say that. I think you've still had an interesting life. You're from Britain, right?
I'm from England. Mhm.
England.
Yeah, I grew up in a city called Hereford on the border of Wales, like central England, right?
That's awesome.
15 miles from the border of Wales. Mm-hmm.
So how far away were you from Downton Abbey?
Oh, I don't even know where Downton Abbey is.
Oh.
Everyone's like, "Did you watch that show?" I'm like, "Hell no!
I
don't
love
care
that
I
show.
just did start watching Bridgerton recently.
Which one?
Bridgerton.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, it's a Netflix series. My daughter
I
got me
have
started. I'm
Netflix.
like, oh my gosh, all these like.
Downton Abbey is amazing. That's one of my favorite series.
Have you ever been to England?
No, I haven't been to Europe
Oh,
yet.
you
And I
would
really
love
want
it.
I would love to.
Like-
I want to see Liverpool, London, and Downton Abbey.
Yeah, you should do it.
And then I have a friend in Ireland, in Dundalk.
Mm-hmm.
It would
Ireland's
be cool to rub
breathtaking.
it would be cool to rub the Blarney Stone, but I heard what you have to do.
Yeah, you have to hang upside down.
Yeah,
like
so
that's
like
not
these two
fun.
guys.
And then do you
they're
really want to
just-
kiss a stone everybody else has kissed during COVID? Come on.
Maybe they didn't let people kiss the stone during COVID.
I don't know.
Did they wipe it off with a sanitizer
Maybe.
napkin every time?
Let me get the sanitizer on this. I don't think so.
No, I don't know. Just seeing it would be good enough.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't want to kiss it though. I just wanted to rub it.
Yeah,
That's all.
a little bit of luck.
Yeah, just a
Yeah.
little bit. I don't need like the whole thing. I'll handle all the other luck on my own and see what I can do. But the castles and stuff there are supposed to be really nice.
It is gorgeous there.
Yeah. And I would love to go to Italy because I'm Italian. Italian and Serbian.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know much about my Serbian side.
I don't know anything about that side. Actually, I think Freddie has some Serbian relatives.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Huh. Interesting.
from the Ukraine, I think, or I don't know, somewhere out that way.
Ukraine is Serbian?
Ukraine and Serbia, I believe he has relatives from. Yeah,
Huh. I didn't realize. I guess I don't even know
know anything
the
about it.
geography of it much.
no, it's all that way, like towards Russia.
Okay. I see. I thought Serbia was. Is it considered Mediterranean?
I have no idea.
Like hunky.
I know less
Like,
than
they
you.
use the word hunky.
I know less than you. It's
Ah.
funny because Americans all know their ancestry, like where they're from, what country, how many generations back, blah, blah, blah. People say to me, "Where are you from?" I'm like, "I'm from England." "Well, yeah, but where are you from?" I'm like, "England." Like, I don't know. I'm definitely Roman because I have a Roman nose. My dad has a Roman nose. Like,
Yeah.
we are definitely British people.
Yeah.
But as far as are we Vikings? Are we Romans? Like, I have no idea.
You don't want to know?
Don't care.
Man, I guess because America was built on that.
Yeah, it's a big melting pot.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know, like
Like
they want
you-
to connect back to where they came from.
And when everybody was coming over, they kind of stayed in their
their
own
little
communities.
pockets, yeah.
Like the Italian
Polish
people were
Hill
there,
and here
Yeah.
in Pittsburgh.
Irish.
Yep.
The Catholics were looked down upon for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the whole Catholic Protestant thing. Holy cow.
Yeah, that was a big Ireland thing.
That's
mostly.
a big Ireland thing.
Yeah. That
Yep.
was. And I'm trying to think. I remember my gram. So I guess I would be 1, 2, like fourth generation, technically. So my dad's side, everyone's from Italy.
Okay.
As far as I know, everyone's from Italy.
Do you know where in Italy that you can like trace ancestors back to the towns that?
Actually, what's interesting is that my Aunt Connie, who just passed away a couple of years ago, when my uncle passed away in 2014, I think it was 2014, we had the family over the house, and I was living at home, and we sat her, so she was probably in her 70s. We sat her down in front of Google Maps, and we looked up the town she was from.
Nice.
Now, I don't remember what hers was.
Uh-huh.
She was married to my great uncle.
Okay.
But she recognized, because she was there until she was like 4 or 8 or 7 or something like that. She was like, yep, I used to walk up and down that street right there. And I remember when my mom gave me money for wine for dinner and I had to go buy the wine. A 4-year-old.
That's nuts.
Go buy the wine for dinner.
Yeah.
Could you imagine sending your 4-year-old
They
down
drink
to
wine with dinner. What are you talking about?
down
They
to
do.
Giant Eagle to get some wine for dinner?
Yep.
But she said the one story she said was she was coming back and there was this guy who I guess talked her into giving her the wine, and then she went home and didn't have money or wine and she got in trouble or something like that. but it was amazing that she could still recognize
those streets
after all those
Wow.
years. But my pap Maffeo told me that we were from, I think it was Calabria, more southern. My mom's side is more northern. I want to say something with a B, Balinese, Bologna. I don't know.
Okay.
But that side, my great grandfather came from Italy, so I'm still fourth generation. I'm still counting but he came over, and I knew him as a grandfather because I never met my actual grandfather.
Okay.
He was long gone, but way before I was a twinkle in my mom's eye. And he was the Serbian that nobody talks about. But everybody else is Italian. So, so his last name on my mom's side, my great grandfather's Nashi, and they have a bungalow somewhere in Italy. And then the Calabria side, but I can't remember. My Graham's main name was Del Conte, so I don't know if anybody listening knows where that is, but I think they were both southern Italy.
Okay.
Not Sicily, but southern Italy. And
yeah, you should definitely go visit and go check out those towns. That would be a cool thing to do.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, I have to save up for it. Maybe this podcast
It's
will
less
blow up and I get
expensive
some
than you think. Like, I'm flying to Madrid to see Abby in the end of November. It's like $560 round trip. It's less expensive than you think as long as you go off season.
As soon as I find a partner, I'll go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Yeah, I'll go. I had my first episode with my 6th grade teacher, and he's been to 36 different capitals in Europe.
Why do you have to find a partner to go travel? I'm curious. Why can't you just go by yourself?
I don't want to.
Do you know there's a whole Facebook group about girls that travel by themselves? Like,
I
it's
just
a
don't
big
want
thing.
to.
You just don't want to.
No, I
Like
just
the
want to
idea of going
experience it with somebody.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
And there's the whole safety thing too.
Yes, that too. Especially what I've heard, unless they've changed it since the last time I heard, but the elevators don't shut when you put your arm in the way. You're open back up, I mean.
No, they just keep on closing.
Yeah, they keep closing.
And
So
your
don't
fingers
try to
start to
save
go
anybody
blue.
the elevator in Europe.
Don't do that.
You
It's
know,
called a lift.
oh, is that what they call it? A lift? Yeah.
Yeah, don't put your arm in the lift. That's not a good thing to do.
Not like an Uber lift.
No. And
So
they
I guess
say we
that's still
speak the
true.
same language, right? Too funny.
I remember my friend from Ireland. We went to school together.
Mm-hmm.
She was over here like on some scholarship or program or something, and she when they came over the first time, she said that they had them all get together and told them the kind of things they can't say because
Yeah.
it means something
Oh, yeah.
completely different. Like, what's the crack? Like, just don't ask anybody that because they're gonna think you're asking for drugs. Like,
So I have a funny story for you. I
Okay.
arrived in the States in 1991. So I was a nanny for one of the Penguin players.
Oh,
That's
that's
how I ended up
awesome.
coming here. So I'm in a workout class, and the instructor is telling everybody
Was
this.
it Lemieux?
No, actually, I
Okay.
did meet Lemieux. No, it was Peter Taglianetti.
That's when we won.
Yeah, we won like 3 back to back to back. I had the Stanley Cup in my house with me. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Anyway, didn't
so
appreciate it
jealous.
at the time, but so I'm in this in a workout class, right? In like a aerobics class or whatever. And the instructor up front is like, "Okay, everybody, squeeze those fannies." And I'm like, "What the hell did she just say?"
The what?
Squeeze your fanny.
Oh.
Right? So the fanny is your vajayjay. It's not your butt in England. So
Oh.
I'm like, okay, what are we doing? Kegel exercises? What the hell?
Special kind of Kegels.
Yeah, special kind of Kegels, like in a squat position. It's like, what the hell is going on?
That's funny.
So yeah, they say that we speak the same language. Not so much.
I didn't know that one.
Uh-huh.
I know she would whenever she would talk to me, she was like telling me a story about, I don't know, some ex-boyfriend or whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, and she shifted him, and I'm like, shifted him? Does he mean like, did it? And then eventually I was like, yeah, I don't know if I had to ask or if I just finally figured it out, but this just means kissing. Shift, like when you shift someone in Ireland, that's just a kiss.
Whoa.
And I was like, boy, that's a really like strong word for kiss.
Yeah, it is.
But that's
Sounds
what she
kind of
told me.
dangerous.
Yeah, that's what she told me she meant, that they shifted. No, I'm like, oh,
Okay, then.
okay. I didn't know that one. But you know what I do? I did pick up, and I say, is I'll say, for fuck's sake.
For fuck's sake.
Like, that's what she would say.
Very, very Irish. Yeah.
Yeah. I picked that up.
Mm-hmm.
Some people think I'm Irish because of the freckles, and I used to dye my hair red. So that's the northern part of Italy,
Yeah,
with
it
the
is.
freckles and the fairer skin, but I still get tan and stuff from my dad's side.
Nice. You get the best of both worlds.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not
Good
too
stuff.
bad. Freckles?
I had freckles growing up my whole life.
You don't have them anymore?
Not anymore.
That's so weird. How did they
know.
go away?
Well, I also had strawberry blonde hair back then too. Now it's white. So.
I love your hair. I think her hair is beautiful.
Thank you.
I have
appreciate
2
it.
gray hairs now. One over here and one over here.
Yeah, I think I have 2 left that are maybe the original color. I'm the opposite of you. It is
I
what
hope
it
if
is.
I go gray, it's
Growing
nice. It's a nice gray.
gracefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Embracing
gray hair.
it. Me too. It's pretty.
You're lucky you got that pure white.
I know. I'm
It's
really blessed.
So nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because even if I tried to dye my hair like that, I would look so weird. I can't. Maybe I could do a stripe, but
Yeah, there you go.
yeah. But so tell me about a success story that you've had with one of your clients. Like what's your? Do you have a story that really sticks out?
I have a whole bunch of stories, but I think most recently, one of my clients did a quick video testimonial on my Facebook group. So I have
Okay.
a private Facebook group that's not public for everybody
Right.
to see.
I'm deactivated right now, but I was on it. I'm on it
You're deactivated?
completely.
What
off
did
of
you do?
Facebook. No, I do it. To
Oh,
myself.
you did it yourself. I'm like, oh my gosh,
yeah.
what the hell? Were you in
No,
Facebook
I'm not
prison?
in Facebook jail. No, I'm not in Facebook. I've never made it to Facebook jail, surprisingly. But no.
You just decided to unplug for a while. That's
yeah,
good.
I do that.
That's good.
Yeah, a few
It's
times
a
a
good
year.
thing to do. Yeah. Anyway, she posted this video, and we had done a brain spotting session. And prior to that, I was explaining to her about trauma bonding. She's like, why can't I just get him out of my head? Why does he have this hold on me, right?
Right.
And so I was explaining about, the brain and, how our all of our different endorphins to play a part in all of that, and how we can end up in this cycle that you and I were talking about earlier, like the dance, right?
Right.
Like trying to appease them and basically kissing their butt and making everything feel like it's going to be okay because you're just like fawning and doing whatever you need to do to keep the peace.
On
Yeah,
eggshells
the eggshell
and
thing.
trying to like not
Yeah.
cause an argument. I can have so many stories like that.
And then when they ignore you and they block you out of the life, then you feel bad because you want to be loved. So therefore you like creep up after them and you're like, I'm sorry, and all of that stuff. So we had gone round and round in circles, and she just wrote this. She actually did a quick video giving a testimonial saying, thank you so much for helping me understand the cycle, what my part in it was. Because here's the thing, it takes two people, and
Yeah.
I am just as guilty in my marriage as he was too, because I fed into the crap.
Right.
Instead of just grey rocking and not speaking at all, I just fed into it, and I threw fuel on the fire in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But you don't know what you don't know.
You're hurting yourself.
Yeah,
You don't even know
exactly.
you're hurting yourself. You're just like trying to fight through stuff.
So it was really nice to just see this person just totally liberated by knowledge. And really, that's all that I do with coaching. I teach you things that you don't know, and I explain, why you do what you do.
Right. So you can figure out, oh, if I do it because of that,
Yeah.
then I can
And kind of backtrack.
recognize it.
Yep.
And then when it comes up,
Yep.
it takes a lot
Do
of practice.
something different. It does. It takes a lot of practice. But again, you've got skills. I give worksheets out and I give homework assignments, and, I break it down into bite-sized pieces so that people really kind of, they're not drinking water from a fire hose, like it's just very gently dripped. Okay, here's what you need to learn now, and here's what you need to learn now. And
When you're getting
when
to know
I'm coaching,
somebody?
yeah, when I'm coaching
Or
somebody,
when you're coaching someone.
give them worksheets to do, have them really work on stuff that maybe they don't really want to talk to with anybody. Like that's really the difference between going to see a therapist and working with a life coach. With a therapist, they listen. They don't really give advice. Sometimes they can give you tools, right? But they don't give advice. Life coaches don't give advice either. So we're similar in that regard. We give tools as well. So that's where the similarity ends, though. Because for me, it's about helping you recognize why you do what you do, helping you understand that the things happened to you, not because of you, which is really huge. And then helping you to make sure that you heal yourself, those inner wounds that you might have, so that you don't go and pick another person that's exactly the same.
Right.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And, a therapist wouldn't spend the time to teach you all of the different types of narcissistic personality disorder and all of the, the things that make up those types of people.
Mm-hmm.
They're really about symptom management and giving you the tools to not feel that way. They don't really educate you on what happened to you. Some do. If you have a really good one, some do. Certainly not bashing therapists. I think they have a really important part. And I think that, sometimes medication, like go see a psychiatrist. If you need meds, you need meds. Like it's definitely a really good thing to go and have that kind of help as well. But I think coaching is just a lot more practical in its tools that we provide. And
so do you, is it like an ongoing supportive thing? Like, let's say you have a session and then if that person finds himself in a situation, can they reach,
Yep.
are they able to reach out to their coach?
They can reach out to me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very different than like you go see a therapist, you're there for an hour, you check out, see you next time, right? You don't get to call, you don't get to touch base, you don't get to ask questions, you just kind of wait till the next time.
Yeah.
So every coach out there is different. The way I know that I needed support when I left my husband was I needed somebody to talk to about this kind of stuff.
Right.
And so, yeah, I do. I provide that. So typically somebody will sign up either for 6 weeks or 12 weeks. And then in between those sessions, we do weekly sessions. In between, you can use Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp to reach out and ask questions, or, hey, this has happened. What do I do about this? Or, hey, I'm really feeling out of control right now, and I've tried all these things. Like, what else can I do?
Do you have a limit of how many? I would think that at times that would keep you really busy.
It does. So I set boundaries around my time and around, my workload. So I don't have too many people because I want to really truly be available to
Right.
people. And what I found too is that people don't abuse it.
Yeah.
If you say, hey, you can reach out to me at any time, they really only honest to God reach out to you when they're just like, I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
It's not like you're getting 15 or 20 text messages an
Right.
hour from somebody.
Yeah,
Now, you
you're
might
not
if
dealing
they're
with like a schizophrenic,
Yeah,
whatever,
exactly.
some weird. Yeah.
And then, the clients that I work with too, one of the stipulations is you can't be living still with that person. Like, you have to have left already, or I will help you plan a safe exit strategy.
Yeah.
But you have to be ready to be done with that person, because you cannot heal until you're away from them, as you know.
Yeah, that's just like how it
You
is
just
when
can't.
they teach people around the 12 steps
Yeah.
that you can't
You can't be around them.
You can't
Yep.
get well where you got sick.
Correct.
I mean, and if somebody does, man, they are a special person.
Yeah.
They are a real special person, and they're super dedicated to like not ever going back.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
And I wish more people could be like that. But yeah, I was using the 12 steps for the Overeaters Anonymous, and then, but it did help. It did help me with not just the spiritual thing, but a part of it was you had to make amends with people.
People that you've wronged. Yeah.
And I got to do that. And ironically, about a situation that I was on the other end of.
Sure.
At the same time, it's just amazing how the universe works.
Yep.
It is. It is.
So you got healing through that as well, I'm sure.
I've thought about that situation with a friend of mine. I was kind of not intentionally, but I think like I knew that he kind of had a thing for me, and we hung out and
Sure.
whatever. And then this was a long time ago. I was like 30, and he was younger than me, and we reconnected because I thought he was going to get married and everything, and I hadn't talked to him in like 6 years or something. And here we happened to see each other on a dating app. And I was like, hey.
Swipe right.
Yeah. Well, I was like, what's up? He's like, oh, I haven't talked to you in a while. And then, like, he told me what was going on. And I was like, he was through a really rough situation. And the girl used him.
Yep.
And he was doing everything in the relationship. She was doing nothing but sitting around smoking weed. But anyway, we caught up. He came out and hung out with me the one day while I was working. And I had it all planned out. I said, I really want to tell you, I think I may have hurt you back in the day, and I want to tell you I'm sorry. And he appreciated it.
Aw.
He was like, yeah, I did have like a thing, and I got to say I was sorry, and it felt great.
Yeah.
Funnier story is, do you want to hear?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Let me see how much time we have. All right, we have time. So the funnier story is when I was younger, I dated a jerk. Okay, I've dated lots of jerks, and then this person was on drugs, and I already told this. Well, anyway, what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to dance around something that I don't need to dance around. But so I had them in the house while my parents were gone.
Okay.
And he started running all over the place. And I was trying to keep up, and then eventually we fall asleep, and we leave the next day, whatever.
Yeah.
Of course, he wasn't supposed to be in the house. But I, then, like, when my parents came home from wherever they were, and my mom comes up and calls me upstairs and sits me down, and she goes, do you know where my cat jar is? And her cat jar was this little plastic jar with a cat on it, had a lid with a slit that she put like her change and her ones and stuff in. And immediately I knew, in the back of my head, I knew exactly what happened, but I was way too scared
Sure.
to admit it. And I was like, I don't know. Well, genius must have like stole what was in it and like chucked it somewhere or something, got rid of it somehow. And my guess is he chucked it over the hillside behind the house, which in the previous episode I talked about buttons rolling over that hill. But anyway, all kinds of things went over that hill, I guess. But so like fast forward 22 years, 21 years, whatever it is. I think I was 19 then. I think something like that. And then, what, 2020. So I would have been getting ready to turn 40. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, Mom, I have something to want to talk to you about. And I was like, do you remember that cat jar? What cat jar?
Did she remember it?
I'm like, the cat jar, I had with the change in it. And you asked me if it was gone. She's like, what are you talking about? What cat jar? And I'm like, are you serious? And she's like,
I've been worrying about this for 20 years.
You had the orange lid and you put your money in it and you remember it was gone. I was like, I had jerk in the house and she knew who I was talking about. And I was like, and I think he stole it and I wanted to apologize and whatever. She's like, I don't even remember. I'm like, I've tortured myself for 20 years. I even tried to find it. I even tried to find it online to replace it.
Wow.
And then she was like, and after a while it came back to her. She's like, that was an old Tang jar that your dad gave to me or something like that.
Yeah.
So when I looked up like an old Tang jar with a cat on it, I found it I found a picture of it online.
Wow.
And I felt relieved just to find the picture. But she was like, well, thanks. And I'm like, and we're laughing because we've got a good laugh. I'm like, well, I guess that was my payback. 20 years of torture inside my head just to like find out you don't even like care.
What cat jar? Yeah.
So, but it was a good moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good story.
That's how the good came from the evil.
Yeah.
I was just listening to something. Jordan Peterson again was like an interview at St. Francis University, and they were talking about how hard it is to like see the good coming out of the evil, which I guess is kind of sort of that's kind of you helped with that because they go through this bad negative experience, and they come out. They come out. You come out when you come out of that. You definitely come out smarter.
Yep.
And maybe a little too in tune with some stuff sometimes.
Definitely.
But at least you know more.
Yeah, definitely. You've evolved.
Right.
Yeah.
What's interesting is when I was in that situation, he would keep telling me, he would say this all the time. They say that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. He would go, no, what doesn't kill you kills you. Or like you know what I mean? And he would, and I don't know how many times he said that to me. That still goes through my head sometimes. But now when I think about it, I'm like, he was wrong. He's so wrong because he didn't get it.
Mine was, nobody will ever love you as much as I do. Do you remember that one? I'm sure you got used. Got used on you.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'll never be able to. We're broken. You're broken. I would be told I was broken. So I could never have anything because I'm broken.
It's all BS. Limited believing.
There is a such thing as glue.
Yeah.
Emotional glue.
Super glue.
Yeah, super glue. Takes a little longer to put it together, but once it is, it's pretty strong.
Yeah, you can't break it apart. True story.
Tell me a fun story from when you were growing up in England.
A fun story?
Yeah, like when maybe when you were a kid, maybe when you were a teenager, got in some trouble.
Oh my God, I was a bad teenager.
Were you?
Yeah, we're not going there.
Aww,
but I will
that's
tell
the
you
stuff we want to hear. Come on, it's all over with anyway. What's going to happen?
I'll tell you a funny story.
Okay.
So, well, the first part of it isn't funny, but then the second part is. So the first part is I was 9 years of age and I was walking home from school and these boys were fighting, like screaming at each other, throwing stuff at each other. And there was an old old disused railroad that ran from my school to my house. And that would be the way that my brother and I would walk to school every day.
How was
So
your brother, older than you or younger
he's
than you?
2.5 years younger than me.
Okay.
So we're walking along this railroad, and these boys are all fighting and throwing stones and stuff at each other. And a half of a house brick hits me in the face, knocks my teeth out.
Oh, wow.
It was bad. So I go into the house, and I'm holding my teeth in my hand with a big pool of blood, and my mother's having a freaking heart attack. Right. So fast forward several years. So I, as a child, at the age of 9, I had dentures until I was in my 40s. But that's another story.
Okay.
So,
What, you never got, wouldn't you still have your baby teeth then? Or no?
no,
Oh, you would
they
have
were
just
your
had
second.
all your
Yep.
second set. Oh, wow.
So here I am. I don't know. I think I was about 10 or 11. Like everything had healed up, and I had dentures and the whole thing. Well, you know how as a kid you would chew on a pen?
Yeah.
Well, I'm chewing on this blue biro pen, and I was with my grandmother, and I looked at my grandmother, and she went, "Oh!" I go, "What's the matter?" She goes, "Your teeth are blue." And I was like, "What?" So she's like, "I think I can help you." So of course, she's a lot older. She's my grandma. She has
Right.
the stuff that they soak their dentures in overnight.
Oh,
right? So she
yeah.
pours a glass of water, puts this stuff in, this fizzy stuff, and she gets, "Give me your teeth."
Oh,
So take my teeth out.
Yeah. Fix-a-dent.
Yeah, fix the dent stuff, right? And so the plunk plunk fizz stuff. So she sticks it in the glass. She takes my teeth. She puts them in, and I have to be without my teeth for like forever because
it took
it
so
took
long.
forever to get this thing off. She's like, "What if we
Like
bleach
OxyClean
them?"
for teeth.
Yeah.
But
What if we bleach them? What if we get an old toothbrush that nobody wants to use, and we like put bleach on it, and we start scrubbing these things? So
was it one piece or like
it was
all individual?
like a flipper. I could go like this with my tongue, and it would just flip out the whole thing. All these teeth here would be on it.
On the front.
In the front.
Huh.
So that was the first time she rescued me. Another time she rescued me, my grandma used to rescue me we actually used to call her nanny. So she was my nanny. So she would rescue me all the time. So another time I was ironing my clothes for school, and I left the iron on my cardigan, and I had this big iron mark on my sleeve. And she's like, "Don't worry, I'll go buy you a new cardigan. Your mom will never know."
My gram helped me in that way a couple
Oh my
times.
God. So like
Yeah.
I was the only granddaughter. I have
Yeah,
a brother.
I was for a really long time.
Right?
The only granddaughter. It's great.
And then my aunt had 2 boys, and actually I share a birthday with the oldest cousin. So, and there was just 4 of us. So the 4 of us were like, always hanging out together, but I was the only girl. So the boys would go climbing trees. I'd be like tucking my skirt and my dress and my knickers, and I'd be climbing up the tree with the boys, right? She was just always would be up at my back. She rescued me from so many things.
Yeah.
But the dentures was the funniest thing. The iron on my clothing was another thing. Like, she would lock the boys outside of the house, and because she's like, "You need a break from those boys. You just need to be in here with me." And I'd be like, "Na na 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 na," through the window of all the boys, right, looking at me like, "You're spoiled. Nanny loves you more than she loves us." I'm like, "Yep, you're right." I was such a brat. But yeah, so most of my funny stories from my childhood are really around me hanging out with my nanny and her bailing me out from my crazy cousins because they were mean to me. Like, I was a tomboy, but yeah, they made me realize, hey, you're a girl, right?
Yeah.
And you're way less than the boys. I'm like, no, we're going to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of fun times at her place. She lived on a farm, and they would have geese and chickens, and they had a ferret. I would go rabbit hunting with my granddad. We'd stick a ferret down the hole, and she would crochet these like little nets that you'd put over the hole. And we'd pound the pegs into all of the holes except one. We'd put the ferret down that one hole, and then the rabbits would run up through the other holes.
Scared of the ferret.
Yeah, and so my granddad would literally grab him by the neck, clunk, pull it, and then we would get a stick.
You mean like just pull their neck?
Pull their necks, that's how.
Oh,
yep.
man.
And so we went rabbit hunting. I know, right?
Wascally
so
rabbits.
Like crazy
He was Elmer
stuff.
Fudd to the T.
I know. And we would literally put a slit through the bunny ears and have like a stick where you'd like have like 5 bunnies on either side, and I'd be just carrying it out.
Oh, did they make rabbit soup or stew
rabbit
or something?
rabbit soup.
My mom,
so good.
My mom always told me about her grandmother making that. I never had it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's really tasty.
Did you
actually.
get like rabbit's feet keychains?
No, we didn't do any of that.
Good luck.
No, but I used to. My job used to be to feed the ferret. We would soak white, like that nasty sliced white bread, the cheap bread, in milk, and then when it got super super soggy, we would just like cut it all up and then feed the ferret the milky bread.
Milky bread.
Yeah, and
Huh.
it's a strange thing, but yeah, super friendly
What would they
ferret too.
eat if they were out in the wild?
I have no idea. I think insects and stuff like that, but I
But
don't know
milky
why
bread.
they milky bread. That's what they fed them. So yeah, most of my stories from my childhood really revolved around hanging out with my nanny and my cousins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My gram watched us a lot. She was just Grandma Gram, and there's a cat in my back of my yard.
Let the dog out.
Yeah, I would, but she's all the way in the back. But anyway, squirrel.
Shiny things.
Yes. One time we came home from school, and so my cousin would stay over with me until his mom picked him up, and we were like 11 or something, and we were walking in. And he goes, "There's a snake," and I'm like, "Where?" And we saw this garter snake with his neck sticking up out of the grass, you know. And so we were like, "Ah!" And we run in. We're like, "Graham, there's a snake outside," and she's like, she put water on the stove, boiled water, took the time to boil water, got the shovel, made my cousin hold the shovel, walks around. I don't know how the snake even like stayed there that long.
Waited for the water to
he
boil.
waited for hell. He was definitely.
She poured boiling water on the snake.
She walks around. This is
Oh
a
my
70-year-old,
goodness.
70-ish-year-old woman. She walks around the snake and says, "When I do this, Nicholas, you stop." You know. So
smack the
he's
snake
standing
with
there
the
with a
shovel.
shovel.
Oh my
She's
Lord.
walking around with this pot of water, pours it on the snake. The snake takes off. He stops it with the flat end. She grabs the shovel from him, takes the sharp side of it, and starts
cuts its
chopping
head.
up
Oh
the
my-
snake.
She doesn't like snakes, huh?
Well, no, I mean she considered that a threat.
Uh-huh.
I can't do spiders very much. Like now that I've been living on my own and I kind of have to deal with them sometimes. I've had standoffs with spiders in my garage.
Sure.
Literally, like they're holding their little egg basket above their head, and I'm holding a broom or whatever, and we're staring at each other, waiting for someone to make a
You're
move.
gonna win with a broom. Just saying.
I did, but it was like he knew. He knew like which
You
way.
just killed all his babies. You big meanie.
Oh well, go outside and have babies. No babies in this house. but yes, I remember another time my pap passed, and I decided I was gonna clean out all this stuff. She let me do it. I was gonna clean out all this stuff, and whatever we got rid of, I was gonna take to the flea market and sell it or whatever. So I'm down there, and in the basement, and there's this huge. Like, I'm not kidding. This thing must have been living there for a decade or something. It was like, I'm trying to explain
It had
how
its
big,
own
like a hockey
zip
puck.
code.
It was like as big as a hockey puck.
Wow.
Right? I scream, run upstairs. This lady, little tiny tissue, just picks this giant, juicy, hairy spider up
And squishes
and
it?
I'm on the steps like,
Ooh.
like I'm freaking out on the steps. And she's like, what? And she's just showing it to me. I'm like, get that out of here. She's laughing at me. I'm like, you're tough. Like I just can't. I wasn't built like that. I wasn't born that way. But that's like that's the different eras. Like that doesn't bother her.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Me, I'm like, no, I'll kill this with something that extends very far away from me.
That's why I didn't touch it, and it can't run up the broom handle or whatever. I don't blame you.
Yeah. Grandmas are wonderful.
So yeah, a lot of my stories are my childhood, growing up with my nanny, all the antics that I got into with my cousins, and living out in the apple orchard, working on the land.
Lived on an apple orchard? That's cool.
For a while, yeah. While my dad built the house that my brother and I grew up in, we lived with my nanny and her husband. And oh my God, she was such a drunk, and they would fight like crazy. She would hide
Your gram?
my
Your
nanny, yeah. She would hide her wallet in crazy places and then forget where she hid it, and she would accuse him of stealing it, and it's like World War III would break out, and my mother would come down and be like, okay, you kids, well, let's go for a walk, like trying to get us out of the house because they're screaming at each other. I'm just like, this is the craziest life. Oh my God.
My pap and grandma argued sometimes, but I was just telling my friend today, I was like, my pap would always go, holy hell. And my grandma go, how's hell holy? And he's always saying holy hell. How's hell holy? And then the one time, this was close to before he passed away first. So I walked in and I look at my Gram's hand and it was all black and blue. I said, Gram, what'd you do to your hand? I tried to hit your pap, but I missed and hit his watch. I was like, I was like, has it always been like this? You know what I mean?
Isn't it weird as an adult, you look back at your child and you go, what the hell?
I was
right?
like, well, with that time, I was like in my 20s.
Oh, so you were old enough to know better. Yeah.
No, it was funny. I was like,
really? You're going to go sock him?
And she waited till like 58 years later or 55 years later to go, if I knew he was going to end up like this, I'd have never married him. Like, it took a while to get where you're at. You know what I mean? I think you had a good run. You know what I mean? It's funny. She loved to talk. Mm-hmm. If she could have had her own podcast, if that was a thing in her day. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She would talk until she ran out of breath. Wow. And we'd be like, Graham, breathe. And then you can finish what you want to say. She's great. What was your nanny's first name?
Liz.
Liz. Mm-hmm. Mine was Matilda.
Matilda, I love it. Yeah, I actually have her middle name, Elizabeth. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not named after. Well, my first name is after the Allman Brothers song because my dad liked it. I was supposed to be Christy, but my mom's name's Christine.
Oh, it would have been way confusing.
They didn't like how people thought that I was named. They thought that they were naming me after her or something.
Gotcha.
So my dad always liked that song and wanted a daughter named that, so they went with that. Everybody else has C's. They're all born in spring. I'm the M, born in the fall. That's okay. I like being different.
It's all good. Yeah, he wants to be the same. That's boring.
Very much so. Let's see. I had more questions for you. Is there an exercise you can show me that you do? Like a basic something? Or something that you at least, we don't have to do it, but if you want to explain something, like if somebody's kind of like, I'm curious about trying this out, but like maybe a little taste of what they would do when they first start with you, or?
Sure. So I'll talk about polyvagal theory and the vagus nerve.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into a whole bunch of science because it's easier if you have a chart and you can actually see it. It's a visual thing.
Yeah.
But basically you have various different systems that run through your body. Some of them connect to your heart and your lungs. Some of them connect to your outer extremities. And then depending on how your brain perceives danger, it will direct the blood to those different areas of your body.
Okay.
And so activating when you're talking about polyvagal theory, you're activating your vagus nerve, which is the thing that causes the fight, flight, freeze. So if, for instance, say the door slammed really hard right now and you jump, right? That is your amygdala. It's your fight, flight, freeze kicking in before your brain goes, oh, it was just the wind.
Yeah.
Right?
I do that all the time. When I'm in the car with people, if I don't feel the brake when I should,
yeah.
And then people are like, why are you doing that? And I get yelled at. I'm like,
me too.
I can't help it. I don't know how else. I mean, I just react. Like I don't know what to do for you. It's kind of like that.
So in that instance, like that loud bang that startles you, right? Immediately your heart's going to stop beating faster. You're going to be on the defense, like, okay, where do I have to run to? Like, who's coming to get me? Like, if your brain starts to like take over until your thinking brain can go, hey, it's just the wind. You're safe. It's all good. But immediately our bodies go into that response. And it's just sometimes when you've been in a really abusive relationship, you're in that heightened state of awareness.
Like you're already up there.
All the time.
Yeah.
Like you're already on from scale of 1 to 10, you're basically living at an 8, vacillating between an 8 and a 10 on a regular basis.
Matter of fact, that whole car thing, I did that way more when I was anytime I was in a more stressful situation, I was very much more sensitive to. So
one of the things that we can do when we're trying to really get our vagus nerve to just kind of take a chill pill and put the vagus brake on is a vagus brake exercise.
Okay.
It's kind of weird and it's going to sound weird on a podcast, but I'll show it to you
If you
what we
want,
do.
you can send me pictures,
Yeah.
and I can put them in this part where
Okay.
you're talking.
So with the vagus, I will send you pictures of like the vagus nerve and polyvagal theory so people
I
can
can
see
put
what
those
that
on.
looks like.
Yeah.
But what you can do is your vagus nerve kind of runs from the back of your spine all the way down. And so by vibrating your throat really hard,
Like that little
like
spot.
that,
She's touching that little spot.
yeah,
like
that little
where
spot right here.
Your chest plates kind of make a V at the bottom of your neck.
So what's going to happen is you're going to be basically what we call VU breathing. So
Not voodoo.
you're going to take, nope, not voodoo, just VU.
Just the VU.
So you're going to take a deep breath, and then when you exhale, you're going to say the word VU, and it's going to vibrate this whole area of your neck here, like in between your collar.
So how long do you do this?
So you take a deep breath. I'm gonna demonstrate it for you.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Okay. Like until you can't do it
Until you
anymore.
can't breathe anymore, and your voice will just. So what happens is what you're doing is you're just kind of resetting your body. And so if you're in that heightened state of awareness all the time, if you do that a few times a day,
Mhm. It's
your
almost like a
body's
short
just going to
meditation,
relax.
like a
Kind of.
kind of like a meditation boost.
Yeah.
In a way.
So it's just a way to start really regulating yourself so that you're not like spooked by the craziest, littlest thing all the time. So that's VU breathing. There's a whole bunch of other things you can do.
So are you supposed to be? You mentioned tapping this.
Well,
or
there's a lot of things you can do. So there's EFT tapping where you tap different meridian points on your body,
Okay.
right above the eyes, right on the cheekbone here, right either side of your nose, like further in, and then on your chin, and then
Okay.
down here on your collarbone.
Okay.
That's EFT. That's a tapping mechanism that you can do that really will help kind of ground you. And you can say affirmations with that, like, even though whatever it is, like, so let's just say, even though I'm feeling unsafe right now, I'm okay. Even though I'm feeling unsafe right now, I know I'm okay. And each time you would say the affirmation, you'd be tapping these different spots. So there's a whole bunch of
That's
different
interesting.
exercises.
I do affirmations almost every day.
EFT is a really powerful tool because you are connecting with yourself.
Yeah.
And that's really all a lot of the coaching that I do is just really being familiarized with what triggers you, how to regulate it, how to not like lose your shit when you don't need to,
Right.
and really being mindful of, okay, how can I remind myself that I'm safe, and how can I remind myself that what I'm feeling is usually here to protect me.
Right.
So a lot of the work that I do too talks about the different parts of us that show up. So like your anger part, your frustrated part. It's not who you are. You're not an angry person. It's just a part of you that's angry sometimes.
Right.
And being able to identify the different emotions that you feel and why you're feeling them. So it's really a lot of it.
Well, I guess I had a question first, and then I had something else. So the question I had was: Is that VU thing? Is that related to one of the chakras?
I don't know.
Is that your throat chakra?
It might be. It could possibly
I have
be.
a book
You'd have
that
to look
I'm like
it up.
in the middle of reading forever.
So I have a really awesome friend. Her name is Angela Failer. She is an Eden energy medicine practitioner.
Okay.
And she does a lot of work with clearing chakras. So
I would love to talk to her.
you should have her on your podcast
Yeah.
because you would love her. She's just extremely fascinating.
Did you see the logo? It has the love chakra symbol on the top.
Oh yeah, I did notice that.
I drew it.
Did you really?
I'm sure everybody can figure that out.
I'm
but
impressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I think it could easily be the throat chakra. You're right. We'll have to find out.
I think that's the love chakra.
Love?
I think it's the green
I don't know.
one.
I don't know anything about
I'm
it.
reading the Wheels of
Ask
Life.
Angela.
Yeah. The Wheels of Life, it goes through like each chakra, and I'm about a little past halfway through the book. It takes me forever to read books, but I listen to them, read them. You know, another interesting book that kind of sort of like it talks about different parts of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, and it's the brain on music. It's very interesting. The guy explains everything from like tone and timbre and all these other things, so you can like understand the
So
music,
one of the things I
but
forgot,
also what it does to you and everything.
one of the things I forgot to tell you about brain spotting is we play bilateral music.
Okay, what's bilateral music?
So like your right ear will hear something, and then your left ear will hear something. So you are not hearing equally at the same time. You'll hear bloop, and then you'll hear bloop out of the other ear. And so there's actually several songs that get played throughout the process of brain spotting that are designed to kind of tap into those brain waves and how all of that, like you're talking about.
Music's amazing.
Music blows me away, like how powerful it can just tap into our emotions in a second. Like there are some times like Freddie will be at the end of the night when everybody's gone and it's him and Jim and maybe, the last
Couple
few.
of us, right.
And they're doing like all their original stuff, or Fred will do something that's like super sweet, just really quiet and just really like sentimental and it's just like just something
or when
about
Jim sings
music.
Hallelujah.
Oh, that too.
That's
or when he sings Beautiful Eyes, every time he sings that, it gets to me.
I forget the one that Freddie sings that's real. It's a real popular one that he does. That's a little slower.
The Arms of a Woman. Every time he sings that, it kills me.
Aw. That's so
it's pathetic, isn't it?
Is that
I am at ease in the arms.
Look, listen to you sing some songs.
Why
don't you ever get up and sing?
I do when I'm drunk.
I never heard you sing before.
You've never seen me drunk.
Well, I might have to buy you a drink next time I get it. I'll take a water on the rocks. This one's gonna take 3 shots.
Did you know that Freddie and I did a 3-hour gig together?
No
As a
way.
2-piece? Yeah, we did.
Wow.
He forced me into it. I'll
That's
never do
awesome.
it again.
I think I might be starting to get over my imposter syndrome and stage fright. But I'm starting to feel more confident about my singing than my guitar playing. Doing both at the same time.
It's so hard. I couldn't do it.
I can do it, but I just haven't been practicing consistently enough to nail everything.
I mean, Fred's been playing for 30-something years, and he every once in a while is like, I can sing the song or I can play the song, but I can't do both on this one because it's just too complicated.
Yeah.
It's such a different set of skills. I don't know how he does it.
Whenever I started, my goal was to learn one song, be able to sing and play one song by the time I turned 40, which was between March and October of 2020. I did that. I was able to do more than that, but I hit my goal, and I was like, I told all my friends, I'm like, I fucking play guitar. I never in my life would ever thought I was ever going to play guitar. So whatever I do from here is
it's
a
all
bonus.
Gravy.
It's all bonus.
Yep.
No matter whatever I learn from here, no matter how bad or buzzy or whatever,
right?
When I got to play with him a couple times, like the one time, I was like, Jim, can you believe I learned how to play guitar? And he's like, I know. I'm like, dude.
It's an accomplishment. I've tried picking up Freddie's every once in a while, and I'm like, I have no patience for that.
The only thing you need to do is learn 4 chords.
Oh, that's what he tells me all the
E,
time.
D, C, and G. That's
and
all.
You can play like 100 songs, he says. Yeah.
Oh, more. Yeah, and then you get into the whole, realizing how you can play. Like, so many songs are the same.
Yeah, that's what he told me, yeah.
Did you hear me do the, I don't know if you ever saw me play.
I wasn't there when you were playing.
Oh, okay. So
now we have to go out and get me drunk and get you up on stage.
Yeah. She's going to drink, I'm going to go on stage. Yeah. But I love singing. I love singing, and sometimes I've had some compliments lately from some friends, and I'm like, yeah, not too bad. Like I was singing to my friend today when I told you I was talking to for 3 hours. I was singing all kinds of stuff, but everything's a song reference or a movie reference or a horrible pun. But I cannot imagine my life without music. People that don't listen to music, I'm like,
why? Yeah,
I just don't understand. I don't understand. Like your something wasn't right when you were born, or like something. There's a disconnect somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe you were, I don't know,
Yeah.
abused in that section of your brain.
Who knows?
I don't know, but
Yeah.
there's a few people out there like, oh, I don't really listen to music.
Life would be so sad without music.
I don't know
can't
if I
imagine.
would be alive right now.
I agree.
Because I process all my feelings. I cry.
Yep.
I get passionate.
Yep.
I sing my ass off in the car. I'm
Sing and dance, the
jamming
happy stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
I dance in the car.
Yeah.
I don't know how I pull that off, but
Before
sometimes.
Abby moved to Madrid, I had to put an Abby playlist on my
Aw.
iPhone. So if I miss Abby, I can hit the play button, and it's all the crazy songs that we used to sing on her way to school, and like all the stuff that she and I would hang out and
liked
jam
together?
Yeah. And it's like it's a nice thing because when
Yeah.
I miss her, I'd hit the play button. Like I don't know what I'd do without that.
That's awesome.
It's very cool.
Me and my mom have a few songs that we like. My mom liked dancing, and my daddy don't dance, and my mama don't rock and roll. It's kind of opposite for me.
Yeah.
But yeah. So my dad doesn't really dance much, but he loves music, loves the Beatles. These are all his records,
I love
except for the Rainbow Bright Christmas and the California Raisins. Those were mine when I was a kid. And but he loves music, and I can catch him singing and stuff sometimes. And,
Nice.
But we would dance. Me and my mom would dance in the dining room, and they had one of those old stereos with the silver buttons that you pushed in. I loved pushing those in the way they felt when they pushed in, and the knobs that turned the dial on the radio instead of digital stuff. And we would, I don't know, we would just for every once in a while we'd have like a dance party and do
cool.
the twist and then go all the way down to your knees and then all the way back. I can't really do that too much anymore unless you have assistance to get back up.
Yeah, I'm down, I've fallen, and I can't get up.
I've danced down and I can't dance back up. But yeah, those are good memories. Or we would sing like Brown Eyed Girl and Sound of Music stuff.
Yeah.
We loved that. So it's, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what else to say right now, but I just love music.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to hear you sing. So wait a minute. Let's see. Well, okay. So we've been talking for a while. Tell everybody where they can get in touch with you, contact you,
Sure.
anything they want to know.
So, easiest way is to go to www.impartclarity.com, impartclarity.com. You can find me on Facebook, and it would be under Impart Clarity on your business if you are a business owner. I help with a lot of mindset stuff from businesses. And then Confusion to Clarity, Overcoming Narcissistic Abuse is the other group. So you can link into either of those groups through Facebook. I also have a LinkedIn profile. You can just find me, Tanya Bashor, on LinkedIn. So there's a whole bunch of different ways you can get a hold of me.
Do you have, is there a phone number? Or
Yeah, you can call me too, 412-956-6001.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Reach out to Tanya if you need some help.
Quick plug for the retreat that's coming up in October.
Oh, there you go. When's
Yeah, so it's October 7th through the 9th. It's 2.5 hours away from Pittsburgh in Tidioute, this cute little town in the Allegheny Forest.
What is it called?
Tidioute. It's near Tionesta.
Okay. I don't know if I've ever been there. Maybe when I was younger, but okay.
It's cool.
I've never heard of that.
So Friday night, wine and cheese reception. Saturday, all day long, different workshops, different events that you can opt in or out of. 2 nights of accommodation at the Airbnb, all meals included, $700 a person, and we have 5 spots left. They go in fast.
Oh, nice. That's so awesome that you're out there helping people, and
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And you're also helping people not be a taco.
Don't be a taco.
Yeah, it can't be a taco. All right, everyone. We thank you for listening. We'll talk to you later. Thanks, Tanya.
You're welcome.
All right, bye-bye.
Sometimes I don't know